Liam's car rolled over the cracked asphalt, tires crunching against the gravel that led to Hollow Crest Hotel, a towering relic of forgotten grandeur. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving the building bathed in the pale, ghostly light of a rising moon. Its windows, dark and reflective, seemed to watch him, and the rusted gates moaned as he pushed them open. A chill cut through the night air, and for the first time Liam felt a twinge of doubt. The hotel's exterior suggested opulence, tall columns, carved stonework, and a grand archway, but closer inspection revealed peeling paint, shattered windows, and creeping ivy that seemed to clutch at the walls like skeletal fingers. Ignoring the unease twisting in his gut, Liam stepped forward. The front doors groaned, swinging open as if welcoming him or warning him. Inside, the air was heavy, tinged with a mix of mildew and something faintly metallic. Dust motes floated in the dim beams of moonlight streaming through cracked windows, and the carpet, once plush, was matted and threadbare. He approached the front desk, where a receptionist appeared from the shadows. She smiled too widely, too brightly, eyes glinting in the darkness, and handed him a tarnished brass key labeled Room 213. "Enjoy your stay," she whispered, her voice carrying an odd echo, almost as if the walls themselves were repeating her words. Liam nodded, though a shiver ran down his spine. He made his way down the long, narrow hallway, the wallpaper peeling like skin, revealing dark streaks beneath. Every step seemed louder than the last, and he could have sworn he heard soft whispers drifting from the walls, too faint to discern, but insistent enough to make him glance over his shoulder. Room 213 opened into a surprisingly well-preserved chamber. Heavy drapes framed a cracked window, a four-poster bed stood in the center, and a grand mirror leaned against the far wall. The room was quiet, almost oppressively so, but Liam immediately noticed that his reflection seemed slightly delayed, a subtle lag, as though it had a mind of its own. As night fell, he unpacked his bag with nervous hands. The clock on the wall ticked unevenly, the seconds stretching longer than they should. Then came the scratches, faint at first, like claws brushing against wood from inside the walls. Liam froze. The whispers grew louder, forming words he could almost recognize, but the sentences twisted his thoughts into fear. He tried to leave the room, but the hallway beyond stretched impossibly long, doors multiplying, walls bending. Panic surged through him as he turned back. Room 213's door slammed shut on its own. Shadows lengthened, twisting into grotesque shapes. From the mirror, his reflection smiled, even though Liam himself did not. By the time he collapsed onto the bed, exhausted and trembling, the room had transformed. The bedposts appeared as twisted black limbs, the walls pulsed with dark veins, and whispers now chanted his name in unison. His first night at Hollow Crest Hotel had begun, and already Liam realized with a sinking dread this hotel would not let him leave unchanged. The next morning, Liam awoke with a stiff neck and a racing heart. The room appeared normal again, the twisted shadows of the night gone, the bedposts simply wooden pillars, and the mirror reflecting only his own pale, sweaty face. Yet the lingering unease told him the horrors of last night were far from over. Hoping to understand what he was dealing with, Liam stepped into the hallway. The hotel, bathed in dim morning light, seemed quieter, but the silence was unnatural, broken only by the faint creaking of the floorboards beneath his feet. As he wandered, he encountered other guests, hollow-eyed individuals moving like shadows, clutching their belongings, murmuring softly to themselves. One of them, an elderly woman named Margaret, noticed his curiosity. She leaned heavily on her cane, her eyes sharp despite her frail body. "You're new," she said quietly, "aren't you? The hotel doesn't forgive easily." Liam frowned. "What do you mean?" Margaret's gaze shifted to the walls, where faint scratches appeared and vanished, as if the building itself were listening. "Each room knows you," she said. "It knows your fears, your regrets, your secrets, and it will show you everything you want to hide. That's how it feeds." Uneasy, Liam asked if anyone had ever left the hotel. Margaret shook her head, her expression tight. "Some try, most become part of it." Determined to prove himself, Liam explored further. Each door he opened revealed personalized nightmares. Room 101 trapped him in an endless replay of his childhood failures, faces of people he'd hurt, scolding him with voices that only he could hear. Room 305 distorted memories of lost love, twisting warm moments into horrifying betrayals. Even the mirrors reflected not only him, but versions of himself twisted into monsters of regret and fear. The hotel itself seemed to anticipate his every move. Corridors warped, doors vanished, and staircases spiraled into impossibilities. The walls whispered secrets, some of them true, some distorted, all designed to erode his sense of reality. Liam began to notice strange symbols etched into the furniture and wallpaper, dates, names, and cryptic warnings left by guests who had come before him. By evening, the hotel's true nature became undeniable. It was alive, a sentient, malevolent force feeding on fear. The longer he stayed, the stronger its pull on his mind. Shadows flickered in the corners of his vision, footsteps echoed when the halls were empty, and doors opened and closed as if with purpose. When Liam returned to room 213 that night, he found the mirror not only reflecting him, but showing a version of himself smiling menacingly back. Whispers filled the room, circling his name, taunting him, urging him to give in to the fear. Panic surged as the walls seemed to pulse with darkness, and the very floor beneath him groaned. Realizing that the hotel would not allow him to leave, Liam clutched his bag and bolted down the hall. But the hallway stretched endlessly, doors led nowhere, and his own reflection appeared at the end, mocking and beckoning. As he turned back, gasping for breath, he understood the horrifying truth. Every guest was trapped in their own nightmare, becoming part of the hotel itself. And he was next. By the third night, Liam had learned one terrifying truth. The hotel wasn't just a building. It was a living nightmare, a predator that hunted the mind. Its hallways shifted unpredictably, rooms twisted into mazes, and shadows moved independently, always watching, always waiting. He knew he could no longer wander aimlessly. He had to confront the source of the curse if he wanted to survive. Guided reluctantly by Margaret, whose frail frame belied her shapped instincts, Liam navigated the hotel's ever-changing corridors. Whispers followed them, sometimes familiar, sometimes alien, reciting secrets and fears in a chorus that gnawed at his resolve. Every hallway seemed to close in, the walls bending like black waves, floors warping beneath their feet. They reached the grand ballroom, a vast space illuminated by flickering chandeliers, but it was no longer the elegant hall it had once been. The floor was slick with shadows, and ghostly figures danced endlessly, faces frozen in eternal terror and ecstasy simultaneously. Margaret warned, "This is the heart of the hotel. Its soul is here, feeding on those trapped inside." Suddenly, the hotel attacked. Doors slammed, hallways elongated into infinite loops, and Liam found himself confronting visions of his greatest fears. Childhood traumas, forgotten mistakes, and lost loves were projected around him, twisting into grotesque forms. Shadows reached from walls to grab him, pulling at his sanity. He screamed, but his cries were absorbed into the room, becoming part of the hotel's chorus. From the darkness, the manager appeared, a gaunt, pale figure with eyes like empty voids. "Welcome, Liam," he intoned, voice echoing unnaturally. "The hotel collects what it needs. Every fear, every regret, every soul that enters becomes part of me." Margaret grabbed Liam's arm. "You can fight it, but it will only grow stronger when you resist. You must face your fears without letting them consume you." Liam stumbled through corridors that now resembled twisted reflections of his mind. Rooms became infinite mirrors, each reflecting a slightly worse version of himself, whispering temptations to surrender. He saw Margaret caught in one room, fading into the shadows, her screams swallowed by the walls. His heart pounded. He realized the hotel had already claimed pieces of her to grow stronger. The whispers became almost intelligible. "You will stay. You will join us. You are ours." Liam fought against the pull, his mind teetering on the brink of collapse. The very architecture around him seemed to pulse with a malevolent life, staircases curling impossibly, doors opening to nowhere, and ceilings dripping blackened shadows. By the end of the night, Liam had barely escaped the ballroom, shaken and exhausted. He realized the chilling truth. The hotel didn't just trap bodies, it trapped identities. To survive, he would have to confront not only the entity behind the curse, but the darkest corners of his own mind. As dawn's faint light threatened the horizon, Liam stumbled into a hallway that stretched endlessly, the walls whispering promises of despair. The next step would lead him closer to either freedom or permanent damnation. Liam's legs burned as he ran down the hallway that seemed to stretch into infinity. The walls pulsed like living flesh, shadows crawling along the floor as if trying to drag him back. Every step echoed with the mocking laughter of past victims, voices layered and distorted, chanting his name in a rhythm that made his head throb. He knew the hotel had one goal: to rewrite him into one of its whispers, another trapped soul feeding its power. He reached room 213, the room where his nightmare had begun. Its door hung slightly ajar, beckoning him like a maw. With trembling hands, he pushed it open, revealing a space that shifted and shimmered with darkness. The bedposts had grown jagged, black shadows spiraling upward like twisted limbs, and the mirror reflected not him, but the hotel itself, a writhing mass of shadows, eyes, mouths, and hands, all moving independently, alive. The whispers intensified. "You belong to us. You will stay. You will become one of us." Liam felt the cold touch of shadows curling around his ankles, trying to pull him inside. He fell to his knees, struggling to remember Margaret's words. "Face your fears without letting them control you." Closing his eyes, he let the darkness engulf him, but instead of resisting, he stared into it, acknowledging his guilt, his regrets, his deepest fears. The shadows screamed and writhed, then recoiled. For the first time, Liam felt control returning. The mirror's reflection shifted, the writhing mass paused, as if surprised by his defiance. Summoning every ounce of will, he lunged through the mirror, breaking through the room's warped reality. Behind him, Margaret appeared, her form flickering between flesh and shadow. She grabbed his arm, her voice strained. "Go, now! I'll hold it off!" Before he could protest, she was pulled into the darkness, her scream echoing as the shadows swallowed her. Liam didn't look back. He ran, each corridor now recoiling from him, as if the hotel respected his newfound strength, yet desperately tried to reclaim him. Finally, he burst through the hotel's front doors into the pale light of dawn. The sun bathed the Hollow Crest Hotel, revealing its decayed grandeur, but the shadows seemed less hungry, almost watching, waiting. Liam fell to the ground, chest heaving, covered in sweat and grime. Though physically free, he felt forever altered. His reflection in a nearby puddle flickered, not entirely his own. Whispers lingered at the edge of his hearing, fragments of the hotel that had embedded themselves in his mind. He had survived, but part of the hotel had survived in him. As he stumbled toward the main road, the gates of Hollow Crest Hotel creaked open. The wind carried a chilling promise. The building was patient, eternal, and hungry for its next visitor. And somewhere deep inside, Liam knew the hotel's curse would never truly release him. Even as the sunlight warmed his skin, he could feel the shadows stirring, waiting for nightfall. The hotel had changed him, and he would never be the same.